So it's the first time I'm visiting Armagh Cathedral. It's beautiful location here, and there's various schools around the cathedral. I suppose one thing that really hit me when I went into the cathedral was, first of all, and it's not, let's say, it's not a massive cathedral here in Ireland. It wouldn't be much bigger than say St. Murdoch's in Ballina when it comes to the actual, footprint. We're not talking about massive cathedral. 90 steps end to end, 95 steps end to end will take you through the cathedral. And one thing, sadly, they've destroyed the high altar. They've taken out the altar that was on the high altar. And now you have a mosaic of Amoris Laetitia in its place. And then you have this kind of metal separation thing. The Eucharist is to the right side, on an old side altar. And the sanctuary is actually bigger. Like if you walk the sanctuary from the back wall down to where it ends, the sanctuary is, I counted them, 47 steps. And from the sanctuary then to the back doors, to the front doors, it's 45 steps. So there's more sanctuary now than actual space for the faithful. And obviously after Vatican II we need this because we don't want to make the cathedral look like it's half empty when it is. And I'm not being satirical or I'm not taking a swipe. I'm just saying that's what was done in this whatever spirit it was. It didn't happen to any of the cathedrals in Rome, basilicas in Rome. They didn't go destroying their altars, but for some reason in Ireland we thought we were better than Rome, and we've gone in and removed the high altar. So the high altar, the actual altar, is gone. The rest that would have been there, all of the statues above the high altar, they're still there, but the altar itself is gone, and the sanctuary has completely been redesigned. Not as bad as St. McCartan's, but it's it is what it is. And I suppose the architecture is very beautiful, but it doesn't fit in with the original design. And the tabernacle, the original tabernacle in the cathedral, is gone as well. I can't find it. I asked around. Nobody seems to know what they did with the altar. And if you go and ask, that altar that we spent thousands of pounds on, our ancestors back in the 1800s, our great-grandparents and so forth, our great-great-grandparents that paid for these, those altars, those tabernacles that fed us, that fed our faith, where are they? And it's you go asking questions, very hard to get answers. It's like they're embarrassed to say, oh well, do you know what, we just dumped it. That seems to be what goes on here. But and it's if all of these changes had brought about a renewal of the faith, fine, but don't see it happening in Ireland. Certainly, if you walk around Northern Ireland now, you'll see, if you go to the Falls Road, you have Clonard Monastery, and you have the Adoration Chapel there, and used to be a very Catholic area, but it's now communist. It's now practically socialist in its outlook. This is a sad result of these changes. I think if you're going to go into a cathedral, the first thing you want to see is the sacred, the beautiful. And I think Bishop Barron speaks about the argument for the existence of God in the beautiful, even in that video between the Protestant and Bishop Barron, even the Protestant says, well, I went to the Catholic Church and I went to Rome and it was very beautiful. And that's what our chapels, our places of worship need to be, that we are drawn towards the beautiful when we enter a cathedral, that our eye meets the beautiful at the very centre, which should be the Eucharist, which should be our Lord, which should be on a high altar. We're drawn to that beauty, and that's what we should be speaking to. Whereas here you come to this redesigned Armagh Cathedral, where the sanctuary is bigger than the area for the people, and you have, it's drawn out, and it's all about man. It's all about, it's the priest, it's the man center. It's about who's leading the mass. It's all about them. Where is our Lord? Because we are Catholics, we believe in the Eucharist. Where is our Lord at the center of this cathedral? Because the Eucharist was there in the higher altar. That's where the tabernacle was before it was taken out. So, I think it's up to us Catholics to renew that call back to the beautiful, to the sacred, because the Eucharist really is beautiful. It really is sacred. I'm just saying it as it is. This whole let's redesign our churches thing and redesign our sanctuaries, and has it worked? I don't know, maybe 40, 50, 60 years, who knows? But it's and you can see in the webcams and in the masses, it hasn't drawn people back to the faith, to have to do this to our churches. And even I was speaking to somebody here in the cathedral, and they were talking about, oh yes, but it was really beautiful, and before they destroyed the high altar, and so many people say that, nobody was consulted, nobody did a survey of Catholics in Armagh to say, do you want your high altar taken out, and have a vote on that. Nobody did. This never happened. Nobody asked anybody, nobody asked the faithful, do you want your sanctuary destroyed? Nobody. This didn't come from us. It's not engaged to us. My parents were never asked. And we've spent hundreds of thousands or millions of euros around Ireland destroying sanctuaries and altars and high altars that nobody asked for. No faithful. Nobody was asked for this. We never had any vote. We never had any say in this. This is what some people in the Nouveau Theology thought was going to engage us better. But it hasn't. Simple as, And this cathedral, like every other cathedral, most of the time is at half or a third capacity. Even though they've taken out so many pews to make space for the extended sanctuary, it hasn't engaged people. It hasn't. It was never asked for. So I think Catholics now need to take a stand and to ask, where are we going with the respect for the Eucharist, for our Lord, and the beauty of what we had as Catholics in our churches. That you walk into a church or a cathedral or a basilica, and you had what is called a sanctuary light. Do you remember that? A sanctuary light, usually over the sanctuary, calling people towards the real presence of the Eucharist. You walk into Armagh Cathedral, and there is no sanctuary light anymore. That has been taken down, and the Eucharist shoved off to the side. The sanctuary, as it was, has been destroyed to make way for our new man-centric liturgy. Simply as that's what it is. It's in the place of the sanctuary and the tabernacle. What do we have is the bishop's seat. That's not how we used to worship. You go to the Eastern Orthodox, that's not how they worship. The bishop does not take the seat of Christ, does not take the place of Christ in our worship. We owe him a primacy of position in our worship, in our liturgy, in our church. The Eucharist, the high altar, is the center of our worship. And the priest will go there and offer the sacrifice for us. We participate in that. So anyway, it's sad. This experiment, let's see how long it goes on for. You go to churches, cathedrals like, say, Westminster in London, they didn't completely redesign their sanctuary. Why would you? What would be the point, And, and in Rome, they didn't do it either. They didn't say, let's get rid of our high altar because it's old and it's irrelevant. It doesn't happen. But us Irish, we think we know better. We think by doing this, by not consulting the people that it's going to work. It's crazy. Anyway, rant over. This is my visit to Armagh, and I think maybe someday they'll restore the cathedral to how it was originally designed. That original design that nobody asked to be changed. They didn't have a vote of Catholics here in Armagh to say, let's destroy our high altar here in Armagh. They didn't. Nobody asked for it. Nobody was consulted. This was top down by certain people that thought that doing this would. What has it turned into? Anyway, have a good day. Greetings from Armagh.